Following video is for Management 3302, Principles of Management for Houston Christian University. Welcome to class. This is Management 3302, Principles of Management, and my name is Dr. E. West. I may or may not be your instructor in this online course, but I am the department chair and was responsible for the content of this course. I've been teaching this course for over 30 years, and so I feel confident what you're about to get is good. It's been all of our courses are developed by content experts, and as department chair, I oversee and make sure that in fact that's what's happening, and it is. So you should feel good about this course. The content of this course, the second thing is it does match the face-to-face course. So if you're taking the course with me in a face-to-face classroom, it would be the same course that you'll be getting in the online format. Basically, the course focuses on three areas, and the one is developing knowledge for professionals or for the profession of management. Some people argue management's not a profession, it's a practice. And however we want to look at that, the key is this, is that the content of four areas, which you'll see in a minute: planning, organizing, leading, controlling, are simply not suggestions. One of the fun things about being a social scientist is that we don't say what should be happening or what we'd like to see happen. We just basically look at what happens in organizations and determine if it's effective, it's not effective. And so the content in most management or business courses, economics courses, is really saying what's going on and what's effective, not so much saying, what should be happening. And that content area, that number one point, that content area is important for you to practice the profession of management. It'll show up in a few assignments, the weekly quizzes, but also it'll show up in the discussion board posts where you're taking the content of the chapter and you're discussing it with classmates. The second area we're focusing on is your career development through self-awareness. There's basically every other week, starting with week one and then moving forward every other week. On odd numbered weeks, you'll be doing a career development, your personal career development through self-awareness exercises, and it culminates in the final week 8 or module 8, where you're going to actually submit a reflective paper. And the last one, the third one, is of course Houston Christian University. You'll be surprised at maybe not, I hope not, but you'll be surprised at the amount of faith integration work that is out there. And that's just simply to say that people who take their religious faith seriously, in my case, Christian, our faith shows up in the workplace, and our faith shows up in every area of our life. And so you're going to spend a little time with that as well. And that's every even week, 2, 4, 6, 8. And those are short reflective papers. You'll be reading a book. So there are 2 books required for the course. One is Principles of Management text, and then the other one is a Faith and Workbook, which I was proud to edit. So as I mentioned to you before, these are the 4 areas of management. It's usually referred to as a management process. And planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Those are the 4 areas that represent practices or functions, if you will. And they make sense. It's pretty. If you management theory, because it's social science, follows human practice. So if you have somebody who's want to do something, and you'll need to plan it out. If you start figuring out what you want to do, that is setting what you want to do, setting the performance standards, you'll need to organize, that is figure out what the tasks are, get the people and resources to do it. Then you'll need to lead the process, which is simply to say that you'll need to basically initiate, empower, delegate, and then you need to make sure that the results come to fruition, which is controlling. So what you're hearing me say is that management's a social science, and having said that, what we're suggesting is that it really tracks with, follows human behavior. Planning, organizing, leading, controlling shows up in just about any area of your life where you've been or are being successful. These 4 themes are what kind of set this course apart. This is what makes the course thematically kind of stand up and not only stand up and be recognized, but it gives us kind of handholds. That is suggesting that these 4 areas the curriculum is built around. So it gives us handholds to kind of understand what's happening in terms of the skills that we'd like to develop in management practice, these 4: planning, organizing, leading, controlling. But it's also human behavior. It's how it's how we function. And so to develop these good managerial skills is not simply just to develop those for business. They affect and infect every other part of your life. And so these 4 themes you're going to see again and again. The next thing that we're doing, and throughout these PowerPoints, and I'll mention this a number of times when I'm going through these, but I'll be done talking, and basically what I'm going to ask you to do at the end is I'll say, why don't you pause and read the slide? And that's what I'm going to do here, which means, I'm going to add content to it, but the content that's on the slide and in your textbook is just really something you need to know. The idea here, and this is the other thing that we're going to be working on, is this perspective of career readiness. And a lot of career readiness just simply happens through or happens around a person being self-aware. That is, are they aware of their own present abilities, their own present status? And so there are a number of areas. Obviously, how well are you at analytics? What's your ethical scope in terms of career? Are you able to solve problems? How good are you at problem solving? And then how just self-aware are you? So the assessments in the course are really intended to guide you in helping you understand your level of self-awareness, so you can really not only become somebody who's going to manage, not just managers aren't just in businesses, they're in every type of organization, but they're going to lead people to reach organizational objectives. If you want to be one of those people, you're going to have to basically first manage yourself. From this first chapter here, I do want you to focus on what has just been come to be known in management practice. Just a very, very helpful. Again, this is a great depiction of a social scientist at work. We're really not saying here, again, just watch this. We're really not saying what should be happening. We're just saying what is happening. And this has been regarded, Kotz's work has been really regarded as something that is not only well proven to be true, but just so helpful for individuals. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to point you to this, obviously for your own knowledge, for your own management of your own personal development, for your managerial skills, but also for your own personal awareness. Here's what's going on here. This research was done, and it was fairly robust. It's been repeated a number of times. And you have supervisor or lower level managers, right? You have middle managers, those are people kind of in the middle of the organization. You have high level managers, executives. So supervisor managers, people who are kind of working, if this were Target, this would be the person who'd be the team leader. Or if this is UPS, this would be the person who would be working, organizing the trucks as they make deliveries, you understand. This would be the restaurant manager at a fast food place, that kind of thing. Middle manager would be somebody probably who oversees a number of restaurants or one portion of the supply chain at a restaurant. And then, of course, there's executives. And there's 3 skills: conceptual skills, human skills, and technical skills. Those 3 skills have been demonstrated to be some of the most important seminal skills for the practice and the profession of management. But look at what happens as the manager matures, that is, or they get promoted from lower level, middle level to upper level. The need, that's what those 3 bars are communicating, the need for the skill level changes. So lower level managers don't need a lot of conceptual skills, abstract thinking, trying to figure out problems and problem solving. As they move up in the organization, they're going to need more and more of that. And we'll look at that. That's called structured, unstructured thinking. There's abstract problems that don't really have a context. Human relations skills, look at this. From low level, middle level to top, it remains consistent. You're going to need good human relations skills, which is part of that leadership component. And we'll look at that later too in this class, which a lot of those, if conceptual skills deal with decision making, strategy, human relations skills are going to deal a lot with individual motivation, different levels of motivation, understanding how people get up in the morning, work, and go back home. What is that about? How do I work with that? And then technical skills are all of the things that happen that allow a task to be performed efficiently. Now, here's the interesting thing, right? Planning, organizing, leading, controlling. Those fit into these three paradigms. You basically have these three areas, skill sets. You have technical skills, which each of these can draw from a different area, but your technical skills largely have to do with controlling. A little bit to do with organizing, that is the type of resources. Human relations skills, it falls into all four areas, but obviously focuses most on leadership, planning, organizing, leading, controlling. And then conceptual skills is that planning, organizing. So what I'm suggesting here is that as you move through from lower level to upper management, while some of the demands may be different, a little different for you, really the skills that are required are largely the same, and the only consideration is the amount of skills that are required for each level. So, okay, well, I hope this brief introduction to the chapter and to the course was helpful. Again, you want to memorize those four functions of management: planning, organizing, leading, controlling. Again, those are just like human functions, because we're social scientists. It's not like we operate different at home than we do in business. Successful practice of management in a business is successful practice of life, I would argue. We're going to look at and there was a slide before this, and I'd ask you just to pause, even if you need to go back and look at that, and pause and get an understanding of what we mean by career development and self-assessment. It's in your textbook. I explained a little bit. And then this is essential too. This is Katz's understanding. This is the research. I'll stop talking in a second. I want you to read the paragraph here. And it basically is saying what I said. It's doing it Schumerhorn, the author, is doing it in his own words. But this is important to know. The good thing is that these three skills draw from those four management functions: planning, organizing, leading, controlling. They pull from those four functions. The other thing that's good to know is that once you begin developing these skills, you don't have to really change your skill set as you become a top level manager. You just need to kind of emphasize certain things more. Okay,